This podcast is part of E2C Network, where we share the whole Auburn experience.
For you Auburn fans, welcome to No Huddle, your source for Auburn football news and discussion, part of the E2C Network. I'm AJ Richardson. I'm also here with Jared Davis. We got a bye week this week. Jared, I'm feeling pretty good about this. I don't know about you, but we might be able to win.
I bet we don't throw for 100 yards.
Oh, shucks. You went there.
I know. Sorry. Sorry, everybody.
It's all right. Thanks for being the Debbie Downer on the bye week.
Yeah.
What the heck, dude?
That's what I'm here for.
I know. I love it. But, hey, there are some things to look forward to in this bye week. I mean, in my mind, injuries are kind of starting to rack up. This could be a really big week to get some of these guys back healthy. I was thinking about a couple of them from last week, Keontae Scott and Damari Austin. You could tell, if Damari Austin was healthy, I think we would have kept going even more to the run game if we had another healthy guy in the backfield. So I'm already starting to think of some players that I think injuries and healing up are going to be a big thing this week. Any other kind of things that you'll be looking for in this bye week for Auburn, now that we, after really some tough games, have finally gotten to a point where we get to take a breather, almost do a reset?
Yeah, I mean, I think, nobody wants to talk about this. We just want to win ball games. But, I mean, a large majority of our team were transfer-ins, or a large majority of our coaching staff was new.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes a while to mesh, right? I mean,
yep.
I don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that, right? But this is an additional week to literally, work on a game plan for 2 weeks. So you get to absolutely work on exactly what you're going to do down in Baton Rouge for 2 weeks versus having to rush it and get it in within a week. So I think that's going to be huge. I think the time together with the new players will be huge. Healing will be big. I would definitely go back and figure out, okay, what pass play, what does Thorne read very well? Thorne can throw the ball. Thorne can make almost all the throws. What is he and the receivers, what plays are they reading correctly together? And let's fine tune those, because he, in the game against Georgia, I think it was the last drive, he throws what I thought would have been a beautiful back shoulder throw, and Martner is running full speed down the field.
Just running a go route.
He's running a go route.
Yeah.
And so who's wrong there? My guess is Thorne's been playing more.
I saw Thorne do like a little, because every quarterback and wide receiver has like a hot route sign, tap the right ear to do this or whatever. It's a little signal.
Right.
To do something. And I saw him do something looking straight at him.
Okay.
And I think unless the wide receiver just missed the call, but I think there was something there.
That solidifies it then. To me, Thorne is a smart quarterback. Thorne has looked way more comfortable at Michigan State from what everybody that watches his film. So I think, listen, Thorne is not Cam Newton, but Thorne can play the quarterback position, and I think Martner's missed some time. I think he had some injuries.
Yep.
That's probably more coaching as to why was he the option there on your final drive, right? Why don't you have somebody else? But he threw that back shoulder to Malcolm Johnson Jr.
Right.
Beautiful pass. He threw a nice fade route to Fairweather. There were a lot of – I think there's some things that we can be like, all right, this can work. Focus on this. Make it better.
Mm-hmm.
Love the swing routes out of the backfield to Battie and Jarquez. We had not been seeing that. So, I'm rambling, but at the end of the day, you go back, you look at what has worked. Obviously, you got to be a little different and add a few more plays, but that is like, don't overthink this. Just go out there, run the plays that work. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think we win in Baton Rouge, but I've watched two of their last two games. They can't stop anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, they gave up almost 800 yards of offense to Ole Miss. I know Ole Miss is good, but you're giving up 800 yards of offense should never happen.
Yeah. That much offense is just insane. I mean, that gives me encouragement that Auburn can come out and score some points against LSU next week. But we've also seen LSU can put up a lot. They can put up.
LSU is they're very good on offense.
So like you got to punch for punch, throw for throw, go with them. And I don't think Auburn necessarily is there yet, at least to hang with a team like LSU, unless we slow the game down a lot and end up running the ball, which I think, obviously that's a strength of ours. That's the kind of things that I if I was a coaching staff or the players, you're focusing on what are we doing with the passing game that's working well, and how can we, in our next game against LSU next week, figure out how to pass against LSU and build upon that to, the game after against Ole Miss and so on. And you got to have more than 100 yards passing, because if we continue having less than 100 yards passing, guess what? Teams are going to start figuring out how to stop us in the run. And then what do we got? We're going to have a 200-yard total offense game or less, which we did against Cal. And you're thinking that was a miserable game, even though we won it. But that's the kind of reality of needing to have a balanced offense that can pass and run. You got to have both. And I think the off week is a perfect time to get that in sync. I think it's gotten better, but we still need way more improvements to get to where we need to even have like a 7 or 8 win season. You got to have the passing game kind of involved with what you end up doing. Let's go into our players to watch for the bye week, and I was kind of jokingly saying, well, are there players to watch? And sure enough, as soon as I said that, I started thinking of some. Offense for me, Damari Alston. We got to get him back healthy. He's just another body that is really good in the running back room. Until he got injured, he was our obvious number 2 guy right behind Jarquez Hunter. So Damari Alston is my guy on offense. Jared, on offense, anybody or any groups that you're interested in watching, maybe some storylines over this bye week?
Damari's really all you can keep up with is health, I guess, and how they're looking in practice. So, Damari is an interesting one. Will he be back for the LSU game? I don't know. That's our most stacked position, I would say. So, I don't think it's a have to have him back, but you sure would. I mean, he's he played some last year, so you don't want to lose that. That's a little bit of a leadership. He's also just a leader on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, probably him. I guess we could say Malcolm Johnson Jr. because he left that game. We don't know what happened there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't contributed much, but at the end of the day, we're not real deep at receiver as to who goes and makes plays. So we probably want to figure out what's going on with him too. So I'd say we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, I kind of honestly thought a little bit about that because it was a good throw at him. I think the ball was punched out, and that was the play he got injured on or something. And you're just thinking, man, I hope he comes out. He's okay with because man, he's another threat in the wide receiver room, and at this point, we need any threats in the wide receiver room. On defense, Jared, who are you going to be watching for Auburn in this bye week?
I don't know that I really have anybody to watch. I think we've failed to compliment this guy enough in the review, though. So I'm just going to throw it out now since you're giving me the floor.
Go for it.
Jalen Simpson. I mean, I think
yeah.
Did I see where he's already tied the Auburn interception record, and we're only like 5 games in?
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
he's
he's probably on up there. He's already had 4.
Yeah, I think he at least tied one of our like well-known DBs that went on to play pro ball. I saw something along those lines. So that guy, because look, he's not making fluke interceptions. I mean, that one he made against Georgia was amazing. I mean, he literally went and just took the ball away from the guy. It's not like fluke, like, oh, it's in the air, somebody else popped it up. No, he's making the play happen.
Yeah.
And we saw, I think he had to go to safety last year out of necessity, and you saw him shine, and that has continued this year. And that guy is playing lights out, and we did not mention him specifically in the review. So I'm there. I took my bye week to go ahead and compliment Jalen Simpson.
I mean, Jalen's awesome. I mean, he's probably, besides DJ James, probably one of my favorite secondary players. And Jalen right now is shining just because he's seeing the ball sometimes better than wide receivers see the ball. And when that happens, you're going to get some interceptions. And Jalen, of course, got one again this last week. And I mean, you got to think at this rate, he's going to get 6, 7, maybe even more this season, and that would just be incredible. That's something that, I mean, we kind of pride ourselves a little bit in having a really good defensive back room, and this would pretty much solidify that for Jalen Simpson and his just what he's done at Auburn. And plus, let's be honest, all these players are kind of going towards what do I have, going into the NFL. I mean, he's a senior. He's showing why he could be an NFL defensive back, and he's really good. He's just really good. So pretty cool there. The part that I feel like is definitely improved was the linebacker play. I mean, Larry Nixon and Eugene Asante stepped up big time this last week. I think, and I'm kind of future looking, I think linebackers are key, but against a team like LSU, we got to get the secondary back healthy. I mean, Puckett is a big one. You got, obviously, what we had already mentioned, Jalen Simpson. So I'm just going to kind of generally say secondary, but then also looking at the linebackers just to see, can they keep this up? Because I think the linebackers finally stepped up in a way that I was very proud of what they did. And then special teams, I mean, what other man than Oscar Chapman? I mean,
that's your man.
I think he was averaging over 51 yards per punt last game, and man, you just got to think he is riding a high right now. I mean, and then maybe even Brian Battie kind of thrown in there too. You never know. Just having some extra days to rest up, and he is bound to break one. He is so amazing at kickoff returns that you got to think that this extra little week, him watching some extra LSU special teams, we figure something out and set something up for him to take one back. So I guess it's kind of both Oscar Chapman and Brian Battie. So Jared, who are you going to be watching on special teams for Auburn?
Man, I just really don't. I mean, the way LSU is not stopping anybody, I don't know if there's going to be a lot of punting in this game. I know we're talking about the bye week, but just prepping for LSU. So I'm probably going to go Battie, and just because there's probably going to be a lot of kickoffs.
Yeah.
And so we'll stick with him. But I am loving me some Oscar. I'm wondering, can Oscar catch passes? I mean, when you punt, I mean, it's not a lot of energy given. Maybe he can go out there on offense too, and he's somebody to catch some passes. So maybe we'll work on that in the bye week.
Yeah. I mean, I was trying to look him up if he ended up doing much when he was in Australia. If he ended up catching, I don't see anything right off the top, but
did he play rugby?
I think so. If it wasn't rugby,
I mean, surely he had to go maybe we try him out. We'll try AJ. I'll try you out at receiver.
I mean, I'm pretty short. I'm quick. Will Hastings is definitely my doppelganger, so I may have been out there a few plays. You never know.
Did you play receiver or did you play DB? I forget.
I played mostly DB, but
okay.
I did catch a couple times, but
okay.
Not my thing. I was much more like a Jalen Simpson. I didn't have that many interceptions, but it was still fun times being a DB.
Did you run over and dance with your coach after you made a play, like Simpson does?
I think my coach would have slapped me upside the head if I had done that. Also, I can dance a little bit, but nah, I'm not doing that on the sideline. not my style. But I do love it for Jalen. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And I recently, so for those watching on Twitter, I also tweet some of the stuff during games. Get ready. I got a great one coming for you. Next time Jalen Simpson does anything good, I got this great GIF. I mean, I'm just trying to hold it in because I'm waiting for the perfect moment for it. It's just too good. It's so good.
I'm excited. I don't have Twitter, so you're going to have to share it separately.
Okay. I will. Our final segment here, an Auburn fan perspective of the SEC. there were a couple of interesting games that I followed. I want to start out probably with one of the most interesting ones, which you've already talked a little bit about. Ole Miss beating LSU in a shootout. It was ridiculous. There were 104 points in this game. 104 points. And we're talking about SEC football, so that just felt weird. Where's the defense, guys? Like, for real. Like, y'all, where's it at? I knew Ole Miss didn't have a good defense, but come on, LSU. Like, y'all got some crazy DBs like us. That's just inexcusable. Anyway, a couple of funny storylines from that. Besides the 1,200 yards, I think maybe even 1,300 yards offense, I lost track, honestly. I think it was fourth quarter. I don't know if you watched this, Jared, but Ole Miss fans started throwing their beer cans on the field after a really bad call. That I think Ole Miss thought that cost them the game, and thankfully it didn't for them. But it did kind of remind me of you remember all the mustard, like that mustard bottle that was thrown. Like, it just reminds me of that ridiculous thing.
Yeah, I thought of the same. I thought the exact same thing.
Yep. One other kind of funny thing, and you may have seen this. There's this video of this security guard, which, the security guards are down there to kind of stop people from rushing the field, but you're not stopping the student section, any student section for that matter, from rushing the field if they really want to. And this security guard was like taking out people, but he wasn't doing that great of a job. He was just kind of like shuffling around and like nudging people. And I saw somebody make a meme out of it that it was like, well, that looked like LSU's defense out there. I was like, it legit felt like it. So if you have it, please go find that. It's glorious. Another game, Texas A&M beat Arkansas, and yeah, I mean there's some moments in that game where I was thinking, all right, I knew Texas A&M was pretty good. Just after playing them, they've got the talent, and I think it's finally for them. I was thinking back on this. They had back in 2022 the number 1 recruiting class, and I think that recruiting class is starting to take off and kind of take Texas A&M to the next level, which they have needed for so long. Now, I still don't think Texas A&M is going to be national champions, but I think they're making the steps in the right direction, which is kind of sad considering I want Texas A&M to fail and I want them to have to pay that ridiculous buyout for Jimbo Fisher. But, that's the way it is.
I have 2 comments about that. Number one, I don't like Jimbo either, but I actually think Jimbo is less of a threat. A&M is just a sleeping giant with the money they can spend in NIL. So
right.
I think if you were to bring in like a Lane Kiffin there, it could get real dangerous for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually want to keep Jimbo there. They are much better than I thought. I will give them credit for that. And to comfort Auburn fans, listen, I know it happened at Cal. I know it happened at Georgia. But Jefferson for Arkansas, who's preseason All SEC, had 85 yards passing with 4 minutes to go in that game. So
yeah.
Maybe it was not good, but that makes you feel a little better about our passing game against A&M. One of the best in the SEC, finished for like 130, but he had 85 with 4 minutes to go. So we've probably played the most difficult. The 3 best defenses in the SEC are probably A&M, Georgia, and Bama. And we've already played 2 of them. So, And the rest of them are kind of iffy. We're about to play the 2 most iffiest of them all with LSU and Ole Miss. So we'll just see how that goes.
Yeah, exactly. It did make me feel a little bit better about Auburn's passing struggles, though. I mean, like you said, we've now faced probably 2 of the best secondaries in the SEC, maybe even college football. So it makes me feel a little better, but we still got to figure some stuff out in the passing game.
Oh, no doubt. I'm not. Yeah, I just wanted to make a case that sometimes the opponent you're playing matters, and with KJ Jefferson, who's a pretty good player, only having 85 yards with 4 minutes to go, that just tells you A&M's got players.
Right. One other game in the SEC that I wanted to point out, Kentucky pretty much slaughtered number 22 Florida. And I know Florida had, a pretty good game this season already against, upsetting Tennessee. But outside of the swamp, I honestly don't know how good Florida is. Which, it's kind of like Auburn right now. Yeah, at home, we can go toe-to-toe against anybody. But then you're kind of looking at Florida and you're like, all right, their coach is on the hot seat already, and Auburn's just getting going with a new coach and his staff. So I don't know what to really think of that. Also, one other kind of funny thing, I love kind of the SEC, or what is it, Sports Center not top 10, where just you do dumb things and players mess up and whatever. One of the most funny ones was Kentucky was driving down the field and Florida tried to substitute some guys in. They had 13 players on the field and they still couldn't stop Kentucky. They had 13 guys on the field, guys. Like 2 extra men, still nothing. Didn't even phase Kentucky. They still scored a touchdown. It's like, come on, guys. That's just a come on, man kind of moment.
That's fun.
Yeah. I think all the other games kind of more or less expected. Tennessee beat South Carolina. Alabama beat Mississippi State. Just kind of like a normal week in the SEC. Felt like we're kind of getting into, I'd consider it closer to a quote-unquote more normal SEC, kind of what the SEC has been. The first 4 weeks of the season felt like it's just kind of weird. Teams that were being upset I would have never expected that. But hey, here we are. And I think some of these teams are starting to settle back in, and it's just going to be the grind throughout the rest of the season. So looking forward to what else this season has to hold, specifically in the SEC. So, Jared, any other final thoughts before you get out of here?
Nope. But other than we can't lose this week, so we'll sit
Thank
back and watch.
Goodness.
I know, right? We'll sit back and watch everybody else play, and we'll take a week off.
Yeah, I think this is going to be awesome. I'm going to have some family in town. Might do some apple picking. It'll be nice to not be doing a little bit of the stressing before a game, or even obviously during the game. But hey, one other final thing before we get out of here. I was thinking about this, and I've talked to a couple of Georgia fans. They were really scared. They were, like, a few of them were talking about their heart rate was just so much higher because they were legitimately worried about Auburn. And I think when Auburn is a threat to Georgia, everybody's better. And that's just Georgia so far. So who knows what's to come? I mean, if we have that kind of environment against Bama in the Iron Bowl, which we all know is going to happen because Auburn fans bring it, this could be a really fun kind of rest of the season. So lots to look forward to despite losing to Georgia this last week. And finally time to go rest up. 5 weeks is a great time to do that. So, Jared, before we get out of here, how can people stay in touch with you?
You can find me on Facebook under my name, Jared Davis.
And you can find me on Twitter at AJAY_. It's always great to be an Auburn Tiger and War Eagle.
War Eagle.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode on the E2C Network. On your way out, I want to remind you to stop by e2cnetwork.com. It's your one-stop shop for all our content across our podcast, YouTube channel, and much more. To stay up to date with us, make sure you're following social media accounts such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. While our content here may always be Auburn sports heavy, if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. War Eagle.